What's going on, everybody? Thank you so much for joining. Hope you're having a great one today. As always, we got an exciting one from the wonderful folks over at ThreeZero. We are taking a look at the great Nikaido from Dorohedoro. If you haven't seen Dorohedoro, it is on Netflix. It is one of my favorite goofy recent animes to come out in the past several years. Very strange overall. Sadly, it's only one season, and from my understanding, we're not getting a second season, which is kind of a bummer. But there is a manga that completes the story, so if you do really enjoy it and you want to finish off, you can certainly read that. Now, as far as the actual plot of the show, it's kind of hard to explain because it's, like I said, very, very wacky. But basically, there is a guy who is cursed by a sorcerer so that his head becomes swapped with the reptiles and he loses his memory. And in order to break that spell, he has to figure out what sorcerer actually cursed him. And in order to do that, he has to capture these sorcerers, put their head inside of his reptile mouth, and inside of his mouth there is a little tiny devil dude who will tell him whether or not it's the person that cast the spell. Now, Nikaido finds the main character right after the curse had occurred, kind of takes care of him, ends up becoming his best buddy, and kind of helps him throughout the series. I absolutely loved the show, like I said, and she ended up being one of my favorite characters as the show progressed. She's just overall pretty goofy. Very much waifu material, so you got that going for her. And honestly, just as a whole, very, very fun. Definitely recommend it. Worth checking the show out. Like I said, it's certainly different than a lot of the other animes that are out there, but in a very, very good way. Now, interestingly, I don't think I've actually gotten a ThreeZero figure before with this sort of cardboard insert on it, so that's kind of strange. Certainly not anything to be alarmed with by any means, but just sort of unusual. But here you go in all of her glory. They did a phenomenal job on that head sculpt. That's awesome. There you go. ThreeZero's been really doing a great job with their anime stuff, so I was expecting nothing less from them in regards to her. I do have the Abisu figure from the line as well, which is amazing, so I'm very excited to have them team up. Now, her coveralls do restrict a little bit of motion, just as far as the ability to move her arms up, but other than that, not really too bad at all. Definitely do get a lot of good flexibility there. And the joints are really nice and stiff. They click into place, so she's going to be able to pretty much hold whatever wacky pose you want to put her in, which definitely there'll be some fun options. Do have a little restriction there for obvious reasons, so you're going to have some here as well. They gave her a nice double-jointed knee. The material on the outfits also really quite impressive. Honestly, the clothing that ThreeZero's done on like every figure that I've gotten of theirs has been pretty dang amazing. This is really no exception. It's super plushy, so it's going to keep that kind of big, oversized look, which is good because it should. I love her shoes. They did a good job with that. And she's got a nice set of green gloves as well. Rotated her arm a little too much. I actually don't have too much. There we go. Her wrists were just a little bit tight, but you do obviously get some turn there. Definitely a good piece overall. And you do get some alternate head sculpts and a whole bunch of fun little accessories, which we will take a gander at. I'll set you over here for the moment. Now, hidden behind her body, you get an attachable devil tail, which I was kind of wondering how it's going to attach to her. Not really sure on that, so that's going to be one that we'll have to check the old instruction manual for. I'm assuming maybe you clip it into there somehow. We'll take a look at that in just a bit. The alternate head that she has should have her devil mask on as well, which is pretty dang cool. I honestly don't recall if you see that full mask in the anime. You might only see it in the manga. Oh, that's cool. ThreeZero, for some reason, like one head with all of their figures ends up just being this like super playful and fun expression, and there you have it with that one. So I'll probably end up using this just because it's great. You are going to have to clip her hair on, which might be a little tricky. And it is kind of interesting that they decided to package it that way, because that might be kind of hard to actually get on. I'm surprised they didn't just do a full, pre-attached head. Kind of an interesting choice in that regard. I'm really not too sure why they would have gone that route. I don't know if you'd be able to potentially put that hair on this head sculpt. Probably not. This is one of those times where it's nice to have the rules and instructions handy. And I know I saw an instruction booklet somewhere. Here we go. We're going to take a quick gander because now I'm curious, and we'll see what these have to offer. So yeah, her tail just weaves into that little back loop on her. Well, not entirely sure what loop they're necessarily talking about. Is there an opening? Oh, there's an opening. All right, so you're going to have to go in there. That's clever. It's also going to be a little bit tricky to maneuver, I think. But there is, from the looks of it, an opening you can plug the tail into right there. That's really well hidden. Kudos to them. I'm impressed. Definitely impressive in that regard. Doesn't look like you'd be able to swap the hairstyles out for the different heads, which is not too surprising. Now, she does run a restaurant in the show. I think it's called the Hungry Bug. It's been a while since I've watched it. One of the things that she is somewhat famous for is her gyozas, which from my understanding is basically like a Japanese version of a pot sticker. There is actually an episode with a gyoza fairy, which was pretty dang fun. So you get her nice little plate of those, which is super cool. Kind of a nice little addition there. And then the other fun stuff, you get a skateboard, which I thought was awesome. I honestly might end up getting like a one of those tech fingerboards and just giving her something a little cooler. This one's obviously accurate to the show, but might be fun to get her like a blind skateboard or something like that. I do like that they ripped up the grip tape a little bit. Kind of being overly picky on that. It's sort of a weird thing to like. Cool design on the deck, too. And the wheels do spin, which is nice. So you could technically fingerboard with it. They actually did a really good job at that. I'm impressed a little too easily in that regard, but hey. That's okay. And then the other thing you get with her is going to be kind of tricky to pull out, I think. I have no idea how they did this. So, one of the... Oh, it's taped. I should have known. So in the show, the sorcerers usually, obviously, have magic, hence why they are sorcerers. Nikaido is one of the very few people that has the ability to wield time magic. Honestly, I hate saying it, but I'm not entirely sure of exactly how it works, because the show is kind of confusing, and I haven't finished all of the manga. But essentially, that was unfortunate. Come here, box. She creates these magic boxes that she can use to open doorways through time. But I think they only give her like 5 uses for each box that she makes. They drain the hell out of her when she actually makes them. And then I think it only lets her go back. I want to say it's like 5 or 10 minutes, something like that. It's a relatively small period of time. But she ends up lugging this around with her when she's going to do anything that might require use of her skills. You don't see it too often in the show, from what I recall. Maybe in an episode. I think at one point she infiltrates a building, and I want to say she uses it there. But a little more prevalent in the manga. Certainly cool that she comes with it, because it is definitely one of her kind of important accessories. The other cool thing with this, in all honesty, is it's a pretty generic looking box for the most part. I mean, you could realistically, if you had anything from, you know, a comic display, Star Wars display, just about anything, you could pretty much use that as like a little background trinket, and it's going to work just fine. And I know normally I say I'm not going to do this, and then I end up doing it anyway. So we'll just go ahead and take a look at one little extra hand here. You do get a whole bunch. One of them specifically designed to hold her plate, which is cool. I think they have one that's designed to hold the box as well. But you should be able to pretty much play around with any of the fun stuff that she's got. I think this is the plate hand. Maybe. Come here. Maybe I lied. I might have lied. Get one of the open hands as well. But you do get a whole bunch. They did a really good job on the gloves with that. It's kind of a random tangent. But unfortunately, it's ThreeZero, so you don't get a stand or anything of the like. I don't think you really need one. These usually stand up pretty well on their own. You can also get generic crotch grabbers and that sort of thing if you really needed one. Certainly a cool figure. I got mine, Big Bad Toy Store. I don't order a ton of 6-scale stuff from them, but when it comes to ThreeZero, they're actually really, really cheap. If you're in the US, you could do like the $4 flat rate shipping, and then you basically pay the same price as you would if you bought it from ThreeZero directly. A little bit longer of a wait, but price-wise, can't go wrong. So that'll do it for this one. Thank you all so much. As always, we'll see you next time.